Hello, everybody. I am Meredith Tollison with the Animal Communication Collective. I am here with my friend and colleague, Tracy Aikett. We are both soul-level animal communicators, and we're working with Carmen and this great organization called Farm of the Free. Say hi, Carmen, and tell us a little bit about Farm of the Free.
Hello, thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you, Tracy and Meredith, for being willing to do this. So I'm Carmen. I'm one of the co-founders of Farm of the Free Animal Sanctuary, a nonprofit rescue for industrialized farm animals. And we focus on caring and rescuing and giving a permanent home to farm animals who would otherwise not have that opportunity. And their care is very, very important to us. And so that's why we've partnered with the Animal Communication Collective today, and really excited to hear what they can help us out with one of our beloved residents. So thanks.
Awesome. So we're gonna do a quick little live reading for one of the residents. And Carmen, as you know, we like to have very little information on the front end. We just need to know the name, what type of animal, gender, species, and whether they're alive or in spirit.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's a male. His name is Waylon. He is a bovine, and he is alive.
So what is the question you would like us to ask of Waylon today?
Just kind of want to do a check-in, see how he's doing, and see if there's anything that we can do to make his life better at Farm of the Free.
Great.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
So we are going to ask Waylon what it is he needs you to know about his life there at the sanctuary and what it is that you can do for him, what he needs. Does that sound right to you, Tracy?
Yep. Sounds great. Perfect.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right in. We're going to read in tandem, get a little information first about Waylon's personality and see what he wants to tell us, and then ask him the question and see what he has to say.
Okay.
All right. So I'll jump right in and tell you, and when I ask Waylon to show me a little bit about his personality, he gives me a very gentle, I see him smiling in a way that seems very gentle to me, but it feels like behind that there's a little bit of sadness, and I'm hearing the words to the song. I'm actually hearing the song Tears of a Clown. Like he is content, he's happy, he's showing me that he feels fine where he is now, but underneath there's just a little bit of, I don't even want to call it sadness as much as sensitivity, that it feels like he's still trying to figure out how to work. Almost like he's one of us. He's a bit of an empath, intuitive, who picks up on a lot of the energies around him. He's very sensitive to the energies around him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What you got, Tracy?
The first thing I heard was in his own time. He doesn't like to be rushed, and probably a little bit like Meredith. I kind of had images of him being pushed around a little bit before, and he doesn't like to be pushed around. Like he's a little bit guarded if someone's coming up to him around what they might want to do to him, and not necessarily in a harmful way, but just he's a little bit like, what do you want from me? Like he acts calm and cool, but he's a little bit guarded. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm actually having a little bit of that feeling, like butterflies right at the top of my stomach, and this happens to me a lot in readings. And the example I give is like when you just realize you passed a highway patrolman 15 miles over the speed limit and you get that jump in your stomach. As Tracy was talking about someone approaching him, he's saying, come slowly to me, don't come at me. Because because he doesn't quite fully trust whoever's coming. He knows you, he knows the people that are around him, and he knows that you're trustworthy, but there's something residual, almost on a cellular level, where he feels a little, not anxiety, not trepidation. Well, I heard those two words. There's just a
Mhm.
little, hang on a second, let me take a deep breath. Just come to me slowly. He doesn't
Mhm.
like any quick movements towards him, is what he's telling me.
Is it like he's had like some trauma? And it's like kind of like ingrained. This is like kind of like his initial reaction.
It could be. He's not telling me about trauma. He's just showing I'm having these feelings in my body of, you're coming at me faster, you're gonna stop before you get here. And almost like a slimy bubble that he's created around him to say, if you get this far, I'm gonna push you away and only allow you to open the door and come into my bubble if you're someone that I trust.
Mm.
Mhm. And Carmen, I was seeing that it doesn't feel like it's just people who may have been, it feels like his life before, or his experience with people and with other beings around him, everything was kind of rushed. Everything was like there was an agenda, there were things going on, there were other things happening around him, and it wasn't his natural rhythm. So there was always this feeling of, like if you're in a busy place and there's a lot going on around you, your inner tension kind of goes up because you're feeling all of this, energy around you. And it feels a little bit like that. Because I also had images of what I'm going to call drive-bys of other beings. So not necessarily people, like whether it was animals or even other cattle, sort of this sort of being bumped and being pushed and being kind of on someone else's agenda around time and sort of the energy around him. And what where he feels content now is the ability to just be and not feel like everything's rushing around him. Like and I almost see like he may not literally have a fence behind him, but somewhere where he feels like something's got his back. So no one or nothing is going to come at him where he can't see it coming, and he can just actually calm down enough to rest. And it feels like he's able to do that now. But as Meredith said, he's got a bit of a sensitivity to too much coming at him before he's able to manage it. And I feel like he's just a slow processor of information and things. So if things are coming at him too fast and too strongly, it's more than he can handle, regardless of whether it's a human, an animal, or just busyness around him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, as y'all are talking, I'm a slow processor as well, and it is starting to make sense. We weren't there when before in his previous life, but we do have knowledge that he was rescued from a live auction, and
Makes sense.
I know that they are not kind to them there.
Oh, and it's a busy environment with a lot going on, a lot of noise and a lot of jostling, a lot of crowding. That would make
Yeah.
sense.
And he was very
Yeah.
young. He was a considered veal. He was going to be auctioned off as veal. So probably that imprinted on him at such a young age. I don't know, but that's just what I would assume since he was a baby when that happened to him.
Yeah,
So
would
I
imagine.
I saw a visual as Tracy was talking of almost like a factory line. There
Hmm.
was a sense of kind of sadness, an energy of defeated blankness. I could see, and it wasn't people, it was animals,
Mhm.
lined up down an assembly line, and everyone's just like, productivity, I'm doing my job, I'm doing my job, but everyone was a little bit shut down. Um, and that kind of makes sense with what you're saying of the industrialized portion of where he was raised. But he says to me, I'm trying to shake that. Like, he's aware that that is not his life now, but he remembers that. And there's a part of him that kind of wonders what happened to everybody else that was there. It makes me think of Charlotte's Web, where all of the animals are chit-chatting in the barn and the humans have no idea of the conversations they're having. There was a connection there in the sense of we're all in the same boat. And honestly, I think he may have a little bit of survivor guilt around that. Um, but he's aware of that, and he knows that it's not that's not on him. He's very, very grateful for the life that he has now.
Mhm.
And as I ask him, what does he need from you? And how is he? He says he's still processing.
Mhm.
He gets it. How long has he been with you?
Since 2017.
Okay, so he's been there a while. He's still processing this. He's
Mhm.
good. He loves his life, but he does remember, doesn't want to dwell on it, but he remembers a little bit of where he came from. And he said, I'm still trying to shake that off.
Mhm. Yeah. And similarly, even with the time span, because I had a feeling this he hadn't recently come, but I still heard the word decompression, that on some level, even at a very like even as humans, we go through that when we've gone through an experience at a cellular level, we keep a lot of that in our system, and it's slowly over time we're able to let that go. So there's still a level of decompression with him. And I heard the word trust, that's still, I mean, he, there is trust for him, but there's still that level of, can I trust? There's still a bit of that questioning. And I heard the word slow healing, that the environment and everything about where he is now is helping him heal, but it's a very slow kind of incremental process for him. And interestingly, when you two were talking about, because I had that feeling before of him being kind of jostled and crowded, and then when both of you shared what you just did, I also was aware of, for him, a lot of open space. Although that may seem wonderful, it's almost sometimes too open, in that if you're used to like living in a crowded city and then you're in a big huge field, it can be almost overwhelming with the spaciousness. And it feels like for him it's a little bit of that he likes the open space, but he also likes a sense of security, because that's what he knows in his core. So again, even if you have like little barriers or a fence that's got a little bit of paneling and not just completely open in spots, anywhere where he can find a spot that he can feel that sense of security while he's still breathing and healing with all the open air and the fresh air. But it does feel like he kind of needs that. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm also wondering if, because there's something kind of recent that happened here, and I'm wondering how he's processing that back in March. Um, I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't want to give too much information, but I'm just like,
Well, if
yeah,
there's a
wondering.
question around it, I'm open to your asking about it. Are you,
Sure.
Tracy?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah.
I just don't know how to ask it without like just, you know, like giving too much information like you guys don't like.
What about, how does he feel about what happened in March?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
Well,
great.
that's pretty vague, but
Yeah.
is it okay? What do you think, Meredith? Is that too wide open?
That's almost too vague for me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not picking up,
Yeah.
I'm not picking up anything about that.
Did whatever happened, did it impact, like, was he involved in it, or is this something that happened separate from him, that like the farm and energy might be impacted, just so that can narrow it down a bit for us?
Oh, um, gosh, I don't, so I feel like if I say it, it's gonna be what it is.
Maybe, can I ask you a question then? What are you worried about with him
lo-
regarding that whatever happened? Like, what are you worried about with him?
loneliness.
Okay. So what if we ask a question like, what does Waylon need in terms of companionship?
Yeah.
Because that way we're not just tying it to whatever may or may not have happened. Does that sound okay to you, Meredith?
Yeah. Yeah. And I immediately hear or see and hear in big capital letters choice.
Right. That seems huge for him.
Yeah. Choice. In the sense of don't get him a puppy, you know,
Yes, yes.
don't get him another animal and say, this is your new best friend. Um, but there are enough animals. I'm feeling like there's a bond between him and someone else at the farm, that they're slowly but surely developing a friendship, and they're going to be healing for each other, but they're going to choose that relationship. You'll catch them, you know, noses over a fence, or um
That's what I was seeing, was noses through the fence and giving time. And for some reason oh, now you're talking, I'll talk in a minute. Sorry.
no,
Go.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I keep seeing goats. Like, I
I
feel
see
like it's
goat
something
too.
smaller, but I'm seeing, like Meredith said, like the sniffing through the fence, and they're just like kind of getting to know each other. And even if they're not right together, but close enough, they can quote, have a conversation. They can kind of know each other's there and do their dance, so to speak. That's so funny you said goats too, but that was what was in my head, was goats. I'm seeing
Yeah,
goats
yeah.
or something small like that.
And it makes me think of those little, like the dodo videos or whatever, of this dog's best friend is a baby deer. Or
Yes,
I
exactly.
saw one yesterday about the dog and the magpie, a staffy and a magpie that are best friends. It's a different species and an
Mhm.
unlikely connection, but they're going to choose that, and nobody has to schedule play dates for them. They're going to find each other.
Yeah. And interestingly, as Meredith was talking, I was feeling like a heaviness and a sadness in my heart, that there is a level of loss for him, where it feels like that's what I'm feeling, is this level of loss, this level of sadness. Um, yeah, and I mean, it may or may not be, but it feels like that may have been a bovine that was that where the loss was, and maybe that's tied back to the past. I don't know, but yes, I'm seeing the same thing as Meredith, around there being joy and lightness in this connection with another being that's probably already there, without the pressure of them having to like be together. Although they may be at some point, but it'll be, as Meredith said, it'll be their choice. Does that make sense, Carmen, what we're saying?
Yeah. I'm wondering which one of the goats or the sheep he's connecting with. Can you tell me, can you get their personality at all? Because we have a few. No? Okay.
I mean, as Meredith said, this is non-intuitive, but this is just my thought is, you may want to just, if there's an enclosure that's near there, try it out, try a few and see how it goes, and let them make the choices themselves. You know, you may put a couple of the sheep out there, or a couple of goats or whatever nearby, and see over time how they interact, see whether they make that choice, because there may be one in particular, and it may not be the one that you would choose that you think would be ideal. It may be a different one. And that's not your
um,
great choosing. It's just him having his own choice, as Meredith said, his ability to trust.
yeah, that's cool. He does, there is an area where he can, you know, hang out with the goats and the sheep. So that's why I was like curious. I bet it's already happening. I just don't know which
Interesting.
one.
But here's something that's hitting me, not necessarily from Waylon. Don't be hyper vigilant about that. Just
Mhm.
allow it. Pay attention, but you know, don't stand at the window going, "Who's he playing with today? Who's he playing with today?" Because he's going to know that that's the energy that you're really,
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
hoping to match make, so to speak, you know? So just allow it, just observe it. Continue to be with him in the way that you're with him. You know, the
Okay.
only thing I know about Waylon is that he loves to have his back scratched with a little break. Spend some time back scratching and just calming energy, and know that he's good. You're
Yeah.
not doing something that he needs you to do. Um, just understand that he's still healing, and probably will be for his entire life. That doesn't mean he's damaged. That doesn't mean he's necessarily hurting, but he's on a path of soul growth and development, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And just trust that process
Yeah.
by being amazing and creating this wonderful environment for him.
Mhm.
And trust yourself when you get a feeling, hey, I think Waylon would like to go into his crate. You know, that's what I was thinking when you were talking, Tracy. We're both dog people. You know, some dogs love to go into their crate for their little like hidey hole private time.
Mhm.
Give him a space where he can make the choice to go when he wants to.
Yeah.
um, and just be aware. and just allow it to happen.
Yeah. And I would say exactly the same, which is kind of what you said already, Meredith, but with regard to the goats and the sheep, that we may feel that them being together in the same pen would be ideal. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I also feel like he wanted to be really clear that he's already, it's almost like I see him at the theater, that he's like way in the back row and he's watching the entertainment of whatever they're doing on the other side of the fence. And that's already good for him. Like that's his own time, his own pace. He's choosing how it's going to be, and he's enjoying that interaction, even if it's not right up close. So yeah.
And
Okay.
my final, I feel like that's pretty complete from him, but the final image that I'm seeing here is, don't know whether this is literal or figurative, but I literally see a goat jumping the fence into his space. Like someone eventually says, all right, it's you and me, bud. And they connect and spend time together, for what that's worth.
The only one that I know to be able to jump fences is someone that you guys talked to last year, Pippin.
I remember
So,
Pippin.
yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Okay. I mean, it's, I guess, opposites attract because their personalities are like Pippin's way more like, whereas Waylon is more laid back. So yeah.
Well,
And
I'm eager to see
time will
what happens.
tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out, and they'll figure out what the right spacing is, and whether they're in the same enclosure or whether they're in separate enclosures or whether they just hang out and watch each other or whatever. They'll figure it out. But it does seem like that those are the beings that are gonna kind of help fill that companionship part for him, at least for the time being.
Yeah. I love
Cool.
that.
I
Thank
know.
you for sharing Waylon with us. Does that
Yeah,
feel
he's
pretty
so
complete
sweet.
to everyone?
Yeah. What a sweet man.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. And we're so looking
Cool.
forward to our fundraising event for Farm of the Free coming up on May the 14th. We will put this video up with all of the information about where to buy tickets and how to attend the event and have the chance to have a reading like this for one of your own animals. Thank you so much, Carmen, and we will see you soon.
Thank you guys. Can't wait. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.